Okay, so sorry about not being in class today. You have the next assignment, the final assignment. It should be on Dropbox if you want to read through it. And I'll go over it a little bit more on Thursday. But for now, I'm going to go a little crash course on paneling tools. You'll probably have to use the computers in the computer lab to go through this tutorial. But the first thing I'm going to do is just make a flat 2D surface. I'll go to my shaded mode. And what I want to do is, the first thing I want to do in paneling tools is create a paneling grid. I'm going to do a surface domain by number. That's the surface. I can adjust the span, so the U number, I'll keep this one simple, I'll do 10. The other one I'll just do 8. That looks about some decent spacing. I don't know, 6 maybe. That's fine. Group equals yes. Hit enter. And now what I want to do is just make a basic shape. I'll start off with a circle, for example. All right, then I'll go back to paneling tools. Paneling from grid. Panel custom 2D. I'll select my grid of points. And then the surface, and then whatever I want to panel. In this case, it's a circle. And what it does is, on the sheet, it panelizes that one object. If I want to try a different object, just undo. I'll go to a polygon shape. Let's see, I'll do a star. Go back to paneling tools, panel custom 2D. And it's asking me, this is the configuration that I want. I hit OK. And it pretty much takes that pattern and it panelizes it on this flat sheet. So essentially what paneling tools does is it takes any flat 2D shape that you create and it panelizes them on a surface. And as long as that surface has a grid of points, right? And that was the first thing that we had set up. But panelizing 2D is not extremely exciting. So let's do this again. This time what I want to do is I want to panelize something 3-dimensional. So I'm going to take that surface that we just have. I'm going to copy it vertically. All right, so just make sure that it's going straight up. And I want to put a set of grid points on this one, a brand new set of grid points. So I go back to paneling tools, paneling from grid, or I'm sorry, custom paneling grid, and I do surface domain number. And the one thing I want to make sure is the number for both of these surfaces are the same. So the previous one I had it at 10 and 6. This one I'm going to leave it at 10 and 6. Or whatever numbers you pick, just make sure that both of them are the same. All right, so now both of them have a paneled surface. Now I'm going to make some random 3D object. I'll keep this really simple. Again, I'll do a circle. I'm going to take this circle, I'm going to copy it. Scale it in 3D. And then I'll copy it again and scale it again. Just some random shape. And then I'm going to loft these 3 circles. So I get some kind of a dome kind of a shape. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to paneling tools, paneling from grid, and this time instead of doing a 2D, I want to do a 3D. So panel custom 3D. So it's asking me to select my first bounding grid. The first one is the bottom one. Second grid, my two surfaces, and then my object. And again, just like in the 2D version, it's asking me if this is the configuration I want. I'll just hit yes or enter. And I'm going to hide this first surface. And I'm going to see it pretty much panelized this using this object. But because it did it three-dimensionally, it had to stretch the object in order to make it fit within the two panels. All right. What I'll do now is I'll just go undo. And I'm going to take the panels and that surface. I'm going to just bring it down a little bit. All right. And I'm going to panelize that again. Custom panel 3D. My two grids. My two surfaces. My object. It gives me the configuration. Yes. I'm going to hide this. So there it is. It panelized it another time. Again, a little bit more exciting, but not extremely exciting. So then the last thing I want to do, I'm going to hit Control Z. I want to get rid of this, these grid points. So I'm just going to delete these. On this surface, on the top surface, I'm going to select it and type rebuild. And I will rebuild it. I'll do 7, 7, 3, and 3. So the U is 7, V is 7, the degree, U is 3, V is 3, and I'll just hit OK. And now I'll turn on those control points for that surface. All right, it's giving me a couple more control points. And I'm just going to select some of these points and just move them. Just so I don't end up with a flat surface anymore. I'm going to take the ones at the bottom and move them down just a little bit. There, just so that there's a little bit of a gap. And if I want, I can take, say for example, the middle ones. I'll move these down. The one thing I want to avoid is what just happened here, where these two intersect. So let me just move these up a little bit. There, that's fine. Okay. So now that this top surface is a little bit more interesting, I'm going to go back to my paneling tools, create a new grid of points on that new surface by number. Again, keep the number the same. And now go back to paneling tools, panel custom 3D, my first grid, second grid, a surface and a surface, my object. I accidentally hit the 2D circle instead of the 3D object. So let me do that again. So now if I hide this, it's now created, it's now panelized in between these two surfaces. But since the second one was a little bit more interesting, I got some better results, some more interesting results. right? They're all based off this one module that I have. All right. So this is essentially what we're going to be doing for the final assignment. You're gonna be making a wall, and you're gonna essentially take one of these new pieces, and you're gonna make a fiberglass model out of them. You're gonna have to CNC cut the model first, and then make a fiberglass mold of it. Obviously, we're going to be doing it through Grasshopper, so it's going to get even more interesting. We're going to have pointer tractors and curve tractors, so you'll be able to adjust this a lot more. But next class, we will start the actual Grasshopper part, but I just wanted to give you an overview of what we're going to be doing. Essentially, like a much simpler version of what we're doing here in Rhino and just using paneling tools, but obviously we're going to be using Grasshopper. Okay, I'll see you guys on Thursday.